Democrats, Sir Ed Davey.
Can I join the Prime Minister in congratulating Team GB on our most successful Winter Olympics ever? And can I also join him in solidarity with our Ukrainian allies and friends after 4 years of them resisting Vladimir Putin's war machine? Mr. Speaker, the former Prime Minister, Gordon Brown, has raised deeply shocking concerns that Jeffrey Epstein may have used British airports and even RAF bases to traffic young women and girls in and out of our country. This is appalling. The Prime Minister knows that I agree with Gordon Brown that there needs to be a full public inquiry into all this. If he doesn't agree with Gordon Brown, will he, at the very least, commit to releasing the flight logs and related documents? Will he wait for the House to force the government to do that?
Prime Minister.
Well, I think it's important to appreciate there's obviously a police investigation going on, and I think it's right, and I'm sure he agrees with this, that that has to go wherever the evidence takes it, and we have to let that investigation run its course before deciding what next action needs to be taken.
Sir Ed Davey.
I think we all agree that police investigations should take priority, but that doesn't rule out a public inquiry, and it certainly doesn't rule out releasing the flight logs, which I think really should be. Mr. Speaker, on a different note, it's been revealed the trustee of William Blake House, a care home for adults with profound disabilities, embezzled £1 million. There are very few homes in the country which offer this sort of care, and now it faces closure. As a father of a disabled son myself, can I tell the Prime Minister this situation is one of my worst nightmares? It's one of the worst nightmares of many parents with disabled adult children. The families of the residents have put forward a rescue plan to take over William Blake House and run it themselves. It will require HMRC resolving the debt issue and the Charity Commission to appoint an independent board. So will the Prime Minister meet with the families and back their plan?
Prime Minister.
Can I thank him for raising this case, which is obviously a cause of considerable concern, and of course I'll make sure that the relevant meeting is put in place for all of the individuals who need that meeting.
Mr. Speaker, given the recent challenges to the Equality Act, will the Prime Minister commit to protecting those laws which prevent discrimination at work and in society, making sure that women aren't fired for being pregnant and ensuring that everyone is treated fairly, regardless of their sex, race or disability?
Mr. Speaker, I'm proud of the Equality Act that was passed by the last Labour government. We will always fight for working people, and compare that to Reform, who want to go back to the dark days where people can be discriminated against because of who they are, ripping up protections for workers and renters, and ending the right for grieving parents to take a few days off work if the worst should ever happen to their child. But, Mr. Speaker, I also have to raise this. A death threat was shared by Reform's Deputy Council leader in Lancashire against the brilliant member for Bolsover. It said she should be shot. When death threats were made against the member for Clacton, I stood at this dispatch box and condemned them outright. If he has any decency or backbone, he will stand up, apologise, condemn the comments and sack the individual in his parties. Will he do so?
Nigel Farage.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. At the age of 14, Michel Mandarin was forcibly removed from his home, the coral atoll of Ile-de-Quoi, dumped on the quayside of Mauritius, forced to live on food scraps out of bins. He has resettled those islands and yet now faces a removal order from yet another Labour government. So maybe twice in one lifetime, he's going to be asked to leave his homeland. Can I ask the Prime Minister, for a government that is full of human rights lawyers, within and without, why do the opinions and human rights of indigenous Chagossians not matter to him at all?
Prime Minister.
So he has neither the decency nor the backbone to condemn a death threat to a member of this House, whichever party they are in. He doesn't have the decency or the backbone to condemn it and to sack the individual. And that just shows that his party have got nothing to offer the country but grievance and division. Look at their candidate in Gorton and Denton, a man who says anyone who isn't white cannot be English. No wonder he's been endorsed by Tommy Robinson. It doesn't represent our country, and anybody who wants to stand against that hatred and division should vote Labour on Thursday tomorrow in Gorton and Denton.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can the Prime Minister update the House on how the government is tackling the misuse of illegal drugs? And will he reassure parents in my constituency of Rugby and across the country that Labour will continue to disagree with the views and the voices of those who think that it is a good idea to legalise Class A drugs like heroin and crack cocaine?
Prime Minister.
Can I thank him for raising that? We are working relentlessly to tackle the supply of illegal drugs and expanding police powers to test more suspects upon arrest. The Green Party's policy isn't just irresponsible, it's reprehensible. Legalising, Mr. Speaker, cocaine, heroin, ketamine and the date rape drug GHB, a drug which we know is used to spike drinks for women. Now, whilst we're making that an offence, the Green Party's proposals would shatter lives, increase antisocial behaviour and see drugs use running rife. And I have to say, as the father of a 17-and-a-half-year-old son, the idea that the argument is being made by the Greens that when he turns 18 in just a few months, it would be lawful to provide him with heroin and crack cocaine is absolutely disgusting.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Prime Minister recently stated we will not allow the powerful to treat justice as optional. He was talking about Epstein's enablers. But my constituent, who uses the pseudonym Isabella, has asked me to ask the PM whether his words also apply to those who assisted Britain's Epstein and Hamid al-Fayed, a monster who, with others, abused her and hundreds of other women and girls in a human trafficking scandal that the Met, unlike the French authorities, are still refusing to treat as such. So will the Prime Minister ensure sufficient resources are committed to fully investigating this multi-perpetrator, multi-jurisdictional, multi-decade trafficking outrage and meet with Isabella and her fellow victims to understand the terrible scale of this shocking crime?
Well, can I thank you for raising this really important case on behalf of really important victims, and I'm sure the thoughts of the whole House are with those victims. Every report of sexual offence should be treated seriously, every victim should be treated with dignity, and every investigation should be conducted professionally. The Safeguarding Minister is meeting the victims, and I will make sure that his constituent is part and included in those meetings. If he gives me the full details, I'll make sure that happens.
Imran Hussain.